Do you guys remember this? Yeah, this was the moment I tried to predict the colorways of the 4A and the 4A Pro, but let me tell you. Well, I got it wrong, and nothing got it right, except for one major problem, which I'll get to in a minute. Let's start with the fact that I was indeed up at 5 a.m. like I said I was.
Super tired. 5:30 a.m.
And it was brutal, I'm not gonna lie. The event on Eastern Standard Time was 5:30. I was up at 5 a.m. Not that people don't wake up at 5 a.m., especially if you're a big morning guy, but I did not go to bed until 2 o'clock in the morning for various reasons. I said I wasn't gonna clean up the house. I started to clean up the house for some reason. Then I lose my wallet. Where the heck's my wallet? I can't seem to find it, and I need it in case I gotta make a big purchase here. And next thing you know, I can't fall asleep. It's 2 a.m. I get 3 hours, and I'm left with disappointment, which I'll get to in a minute again. Anyhow, the biggest part of the event in my eyes is the reveal of the 4A Pro. I absolutely love that nothing kept the 4A Pro under wraps until the event. You see, a lot of times companies will have their event, their live event to reveal their product, but you hear so much about it before. You hear every single detail, and the event comes around and there's no surprise left. It's just, everyone's like, yeah, we know. Now, don't get me wrong. I get that sometimes you just want to build some hype around your product before the event, but there was something special. There was a mystery where we all got to have the reaction at the same time, right? Boom, reveal. And I got to say that 4A Pro looked amazing. Sleek, futuristic, all the adjectives that are good. I really, really like it. I felt like my energy was low when I described how I felt about the Nothing 4A Pro design. I'm going to be real. That thing looks incredible. It looks so good, modern, sleek. I already said all those adjectives, but it doesn't matter. I don't know how to describe it besides it's really good. And we really need to give some props and kudos to the designers for doing a great job on that. I feel like if I have this phone in hand and I'm walking down the street, they'll be like, that guy's doing it. So, yeah. Now, before I rapid fire and break down all these 4A Pro specs and compare it to the 4A, the reason I was disappointed from earlier in the video, it's 5:31 a.m. I have my mind made up. I say I'm going to go with the 4A. You know, the aesthetics are there. I love the glyph bar. It's cheaper. So I go to the US Nothing Tech website. I see the 4A Pro. Cool. I see the 3, phone 3. And I'm thinking, okay, it's just a glitch. You know, it just happened. It didn't load yet. I refresh, come back. It's not there. So I decided to do a quick Google search. Turns out the 4A is not being sold in the US. And I was ready to buy it. The pre-sale was on that day, March 5th. And so I'm up. I can't execute a purchase. And then I feel like I was kind of up for no reason. I could have just replayed the event later and got some sleep. In retrospect, this is good because I don't have to worry about that last second game time decision. Wait, should I get the 4A Pro, 4A? I don't know what's going on. That's gone. The Pro is my only option. Now I just have to decide colorway. Okay, here are the 4A Pro specs. A 6.83-inch AMOLED display, 144 hertz refresh rate, and 5,000 nits peak brightness. That's all I remember. Hold on a second. Okay, you also get the glyph matrix on the back, 137 mini LEDs. The matrix is actually 57% larger than Phone 3's glyph matrix. You get a Snapdragon 7 Gen 4 in lieu of the 7S Gen 4 found in the A series, a 5080 milliamp hour battery, 50 watt wired charging, no wireless charging. For the gamers, a 5300 square millimeter vapor chamber, IP65 dust and water resistance, silver, black, and pink colorway. And how about this beautiful full metal unibody construction? Did not see this one coming. Definitely nothing's unique design, but some iPhone 17 Pro familiarity in a way that could help grab the attention of that user base. This almost looks like the iPhone went into the future and found itself. And the best for last, the cameras. Okay. Cameras, man. You know, when I found out they put a periscope on the A series, I tried to make a prediction in my last video of how they could make the Pro camera feel more pro. So I predicted things like bigger sensor size, different aperture on the periscope. I was following the formula from last year on the 3A series where the main and ultra wide were essentially the same, and the big differentiator was the 3A Pro's periscope. But I was half wrong and half right. That probably doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So Nothing instead changes the brand found on the main camera. They elect to go for the Sony Light 700C 1/1.56 inch sensor. The Sony sensor is said to have 20% faster autofocus and better color accuracy. The 4A gets the Samsung GN9, which is still a 1/1.57 inch size sensor, so not statistically significant in the size of the sensor, but I'm assuming they have some confidence that the Sony will produce some better results. You know, I have a Sony camera, I like the quality, and maybe this will somehow translate on the phone. So now to the periscope. The 4A and 4A Pro both get that Tetra Prism 3.5x optical zoom periscope lens. The difference is the Pro can go to 140x zoom and the A gets capped at 70x. That difference in zoom capabilities comes from the Snapdragon 7 Gen 4 chip found in the Pro. So if you like to zoom in, you probably want to go Pro. You know, now that I think of it, in that Instagram teaser where they zoomed all the way in and Elton John holding the 4A, was that the 4A Pro camera showing off the zoom capabilities? The selfie camera. This is where it gets really interesting to me. At least on paper, it feels like a little bit of a downgrade. They go from 50 megapixels on last year's Pro model to 32 megapixels. And they also decrease the sensor size. However, you do get a trade-off. You get a wider field of view this year, 89 degrees field of view compared to 81 last year. You know, from experience vlogging and filming on the 3A Pro, there was some times where it felt like the shot was a little bit too tight when you wanted to get more people in frame, but it was still functional. So I like the idea of them increasing the field of view. That's good. But I don't know if I want to see that at the cost of decreasing the sensor size. That means we're going to have really good lighting. Otherwise, the image and video quality might deteriorate pretty fast. Unless, however, that Snapdragon 7 Gen chip that they got with AI capabilities really enhances the video and photo quality. You know, I'm probably repeating myself, but the area where I always want to see improvement with each iteration of these devices is the camera. You know, I like the camera. I like using it for video and photo. Sometimes I film my videos here with it because it's simple. It's easier setup than my mirrorless camera. So I need to see that improvement. I'll be curious to see the actual samples of videos and photos. And quite frankly, I want to get my hands on the Pro now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the Pro and I'm going to get my own video and photo samples. And I'm really excited to see what they produce. Which device is for you? It's probably way too early to tell whether you should get the 4A or 4A Pro. Ultimately, it's up to you. What's your budget? What are your goals with the phone? You know, obviously I don't have the physical devices to do full testing, but let's be honest. If you're a gamer, you probably want to go with the Pro. You know, they got the upgraded chip, even though it's probably still not what some of you wanted, but it is upgraded nonetheless. You get that large vapor chamber. You get the aluminum body that will help with heat dissipation. You get the screen with 144 hertz refresh rate. So your answer is probably Pro there. If you're just an average user, you just like a cool phone, you don't do anything crazy, you're just like scrolling on the internet, some social media and stuff like that, you're probably fine with the 4A. Unless you're in the United States, you can't get the 4A. So there's that. I know you want the 4A, but you can't have it. They don't even sell in the US. They don't sell in the US. If you're a camera enthusiast, I tend to go Pro because it's supposed to be better, right? The Pro model. Here's the deal. If you're not always zooming into like 30 to 140x or whenever the AI upscaling takes place, is the Pro still better in the day-to-day videos and photos? That is the question. Either way, I feel like the cameras will be better. I'm excited for this launch. I'm excited for the phone. They look both great in their own right. So we will see in due time. So I'm going to reiterate, I'm going to get the 4A Pro. It's a decision. It's final. I'm going to get it. The only thing I don't know is what color should I get? Please vote in the comments. Black, pink, silver. I'm not opposed to pink. I would do it. I'm not going to lie. All right, that's going to do it. A little bit of a different style video today. I just want to get a reaction out there quickly and then hold myself accountable based off my last video's predictions. Guys, come on. Pink is just desaturated red.